Ayan. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles. Babatiin ko lang po lahat ng nakatambay dito sa Facebook Live natin at YouTube live streaming. We're live on both. Uh, Daming nangyayari. Ano? Wag po muna nating kakalimutan mag-like, share, follow, and subscribe kung hindi pa po nagagawa. Magandang gabi. So, of course, as we have seen, yung pinaka-earth-shaking filings today are, of course, that the president whom we had expected to file a certificate of candidacy for for a vice presidential run has stepped aside, and it is Senator Bongo who filed his certificate of candidacy to run as vice president of the Republic 2022. The expectation also is that this now leaves a vacant national position. In other words, we recall that Mayor Sara has indicated that no two Dutertes will run for national position. With the president's withdrawal from national position and his announcement that he is going to retire for about 30 minutes, we all thought that this now paves the way for Mayor Sara to run as president. Can she still file? Because she has filed a certificate of candidacy now to run for mayor. Okay. Uh, well, here are the scenarios. Huwag na ang daming na ano, ang daming di makahinga, di ba? Uh, all right. First, thank you to Nagimashka. All right. Let me know if the audio nga pala is okay. Sabi ni Nico Katakis, alam ko na daw ang mangyayari. No, I really don't, seriously. But I can give you only the scenarios that we can see right now. All right, so the certificate of candidacy has been filed by Senator Bongo. Senator Bongo is midterm into his term as senator. In other words, 3 years pa lang siya. Regardless of what happens, whether he wins as vice president or not, he can go back. If he doesn't win, he can go back to being a senator. If he wins, then he becomes vice president of the republic. That's part one. Part two, the president retires. Who now among the Duterte is going to run for national position? Mayor Inday is going back allegedly as mayor. But since it is only October 2, then and the deadline for filing certificates of candidacy is October 8th, I don't think any of us can breathe until then, because any person who has filed a certificate of candidacy can also withdraw that certificate of candidacy at any time prior to elections. So, for example, whoever files a certificate of candidacy for COC for the presidency can withdraw it later on, even after November 15, even on the day of elections itself. Okay, so can Mayor Sara withdraw her certificate of candidacy for mayor and file instead a different one? I'm not saying for the presidency or vice presidency, but can she file a different one for a different position? Yes, provided she can also include the requirements of that different position. Kasi syempre, iba yung requirements ng mayor. Although, general rule, andyan pa rin yun. The age requirement, proof of the age requirement, which means the birth certificate, proof of residency, uh, ano pa ba, able to read and write, and so on, and that he or she is a registered voter. So, yes, in theory, Mayor Inday can still withdraw her certificate of candidacy for mayor and file for something else later on, as long as she meets the deadline and the requirements by October 8th. Right? What we have not seen is former Senator Bongbong Marcos filing anything. And what he has said is that he wants to take as much time, all the time that he has, to think about what position he's going to run. Okay, Ma'am Ilikara Araceli Moser, thank you very much for your super chat. Thank you also kay Nagimashka, and there's one other person. Oops. Sino po yung isang nagbigay sa super chat? Napasalamatan ko na ba kayo? Okay, pakisabi na lang kung if I missed anybody in our super chat. So, what really I'm saying here right now is that anything can happen. Are we going to hazard a guess as to what is actually going to happen? Well, that's what everybody's doing. I don't really want to do that. What I think is that the Dutertes are really very good at mind games. If they're playing one right now, they're playing it really well. We did not see the president, as far as we know, the president was hell bent on running for your vice presidency. Kasi legal naman yon. And for me, yung ginamit niyang dahilan na was that because of the perception of unconstitutionality, I will step aside for Senator Bongo to file his certificate of candidacy as vice president. Pero wala naman pong pang nagfa-file na COC for the presidency ng PDP laban. So that's another thing. Now, also at an interview after the filing, apparently the president said something about Mayor Inday and Senator Bongo running as a tandem. He's the only one who is saying that right now. We have no word from Mayor Inday, who is actually the ultimate source of whether or not she's going to run. So right now, it's still anybody's game. Okay? Para dun sa mga nagtatanong kung nasa ng super chat, that is on YouTube. You just have to go to the dialogue box and you click the monetary symbol, like the dollar sign, or depending on where you are. Thank you kay Ma'am Annie sa super chat. Thank you din kay Sir Nathaniel Quintos and Rene Braga Baico. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. So, kasi earlier on, people kept asking me, pwede pa ba si Mayor Inday if she files, can she file? Yeah, she can file. She can withdraw her certificate of candidacy as mayor and then file for the presidency or the vice presidency or senator or any other position that she wants. Diba? uh, it's too early to talk about substitutions kasi hindi pa tapos ang filing of COCs. Meaning, you can only substitute somebody who is a candidate. So when you file a substitution, kailangan tapos na yung filing. Otherwise, it's simply a withdrawal. It's not the person who filed the certificate withdraws and then somebody else files a COC. Okay, so it's not technically substitution. Bobby Belmonte asks, bawal po bang tumakbo si PRRD as Vice President? No po. The Constitution is clear. There is no bar to the President running for Vice President. What the President said as an excuse to not run for Vice President is simply that people perceive it to be unconstitutional. Of course, that's not true. Constitutionality or unconstitutionality is not a matter of perception. It is what the Supreme Court says it is. But because that is the mandate of the Supreme Court to determine what laws are adhere to the Constitution. Thank you din po kay Philip Eugenio sa nagbigay ng pangkape and Cruce de la Torre. Sabi ni Ma'am Cruce, BBM Duterte Sara. Nice, di ba? Ah, I hope that this isn't all in our dreams. Thank you kay Deo Versola. And yeah, marami tayong o sabi nga ni Jack Stone, it's a nail biter. That's true. Ako kasi I'm preparing myself for the fact that this is what it already is. So Senator Bongo runs for vice president and hopefully BBM runs for president. And then let's see what's going on. But if you are feeling, the suspense, can you imagine what they're feeling dun sa other side, di ba? Ito, sabi ni Mang Tomas, thank you for your wholehearted service, PRRD. My family loved and support you until the end. Well, love sana, wag past tense. Di ba? Buhay pa naman siya. BBM Sara, so ng iba. Well, I think that that's the team to beat, but it really depends, di ba, on who the candidates are going to be in the final run. Ito, sabi ni Rai, Sara Duterte lang qualified maging president. Well, you have to distinguish qualified under the Constitution and qualified in the sense that they're the best candidate. Yan. Based sa experience, bukod dyan, simpleng tao din siya at makamasa. Ayoko kay BBM, wala akong tiwala sa kanya. Oy, bakit naman? Bukod sa laking mayaman siya, wala ding karisma sa tao. No to Marcos anymore. Well, ako I disagree. Ito, I'm all for BBM Go Tandem, sabi ni Cheryl Didache. Alvin asks, says, BBM Sara or Sara BBM, kahit sino, pwede mas okay sa akin ang BBM Sara. Natanong ni Cyril, upon filing of COC po ba dapat nakasaad na kung sino ang iyong substitute should you choose to withdraw? No. No. You can't choose a substitute. Is it true that if President Duterte runs for the VP position, then he will be immune with his human rights cases? No, the Vice President is not immune from suit. So whoever says that, whoever is speculating about that is incorrect. Ito, sabi ni Aris, paano na yung sinabi ni Mayor Sara na isang Duterte lang tatakbo? Paano yan? Nag-file na rin ng re-election for mayorship. Like I said, Mayor Sara, if she wants to, can withdraw her certificate of candidacy for mayorship and file one for the presidency provided she meets the deadline and the requirements. So, yung sinasabi ni Mayor Sara is not that a Duterte is going to run. What she's saying is that only one Duterte can run for the national position. She didn't say that only one Duterte shall run for the national position. You realize that Sara is also very careful about what she says. Mayor Sara is also very careful about what she says. So, thank you kay Ma'am Sara Mercado. And, sino pa yung isa? I missed the other one na nag super chat din. I think most of us nag-live lang tayo dito so that we can air out the fact that our choice for the tandem that's going to run we all want PBM and Sara, Mayor Sara, but we don't know if that's going to happen. I'm afraid to hope. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I am afraid to hope. Because we know that Mayor Sara is pretty straightforward. If she says she's not running, she's not running. Ganun lang yan. Unless something else happens. Holy cow. But what I said still holds. What I'm saying is that, the mind games they're playing, if this is still a mind game, they're playing it very, very well. Okay. What happens if the Davao mayor doesn't file her certificate of candidacy for a national position? Then I suppose we should expect BBM will file his certificate of candidacy for president. So in either way, diba, uh, we will have to work very, very hard to make sure that BBM wins. It's different when it's Sarah. There's something like a built-in protection since her father is an incumbent. Iba talaga yung pagka you're occupying, you have somebody having your back who is an incumbent. Uh, BBM will need all the help he can get. So, hihikayatin ko na lahat right now. If BBM files his certificate of candidacy, I think that we should all, you know, come together and support him. Otherwise, baka sino pa yung makalusot. Sabi ni Yehoshua man, sana cabinet member ka, manalo si BBM Duterte. President, Secretary ka, Duterte. Secretary ka po, spokesperson to the President. I have no such illusions, sir. Masaya naman tayo dito, di ba? What I think I got a little shaken was the president's announcement that he's retiring from politics at the end of his term. I was still hoping that he would be at least mayor of Davao if Mayor Sara was going to run for a national position. However, I understand that given his age and some health problems, then that come with age, then yes, he's entitled to a good vacation afterwards or a good retirement. Ano po difference ng regional political party sa national party? Inday Sara's party is just regional. I don't think we have to worry about that one since many parties have endorsed her candidacy and she can run as a guest candidate to, let's say, I understand Nationalista endorsed her, Lakas and tama ba yan? Lakas and UCD also endorsed her, and so on. So there are about five parties that endorsed her. So that is the least of our worries. That's assuming that she wants to run for president. Diba? Sabi ni Prisco Nilo, I've talked to one of the guys of Run Sararan having a meeting at a restaurant across CCP complex. He's a barangay captain from Davao. He said Inday Sara is already here in NCR. I asked him if Inday Sara is running for president. He replied, I hope so. Uh, so do I. I hope so too. There are some people who are very confident that it will be, Madam Inday is going to file her certificate of candidacy. Right now, I don't think there is anything sure. So Crazy says, bakit kaya madaming galit kay BBM for the martial law? Dapat kay Ramos po kayo magalit sa abuses. Martial law is declared para mapigilan ng teroristang NPA na founded ni Ninoy at Joma at ni Norman Suari. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what you call visiting the sins of the father on the son. It wasn't BBM who declared martial law; it was his father. Knowing the personality of Ma'am Sara, sabi ni Blackwood, the possibility of her withdrawing from the mayoralty candidate and running for a national position is very rare. Well, many will say that 1% will happen, but 1% is not 0%. Maybe. I'd like to think that she's running. But I'm also prepared for the eventual. I have been prepared for a long time for in case that she doesn't. Diba, we love her anyway. She's the mayor of Davao City, after all. Francis Miranda says, sada nga, either way, BBM, SZD, or SZD, BBM, supportahan natin. Huwag sana mahati o di supportahan kung di yung gusto ninyong posisyon ang mangyari. Yeah, I agree. I saw a video posted at Ma'am MJ Kiambau's wall, an ambush interview. PRRD said it will be Sarah Go. Yes, but the president also admitted that he has not spoken to his daughter. So I don't know what the value of what he says will be, diba, or is right now. I think that we really have to wait until after October 8th to see who is going to be running. The president might think that maybe Sarah wants to run, but on the other hand, maybe she doesn't. We don't know. Michael Bunayog says, I hope this won't be another 2016 effery where hati yung mga boto. If BBM Sara is going to happen, yun lang sana yung pair na nasa isip or even option ng pro-admin. Dati kasi nahati yung boto for VP because Duterte chose Cayetano as his tandem while a lot of people also voted for BBM when they supported Duterte. Yeah, but I don't think we can really dictate on the candidates themselves, di ba? We can ask the supporters to support a particular tandem regardless of the party's tandems. I think that would be more appropriate. Pero yung didiktahan natin sila, I don't think they're going to take that very well, di ba? Sabi ni Shirley Imbian, to all aspirants, the most qualified next leader is BBM Sara or Sara BBM, period. Yes, that's why everybody is so nervous. All sides are nervous. The other side is nervous because they think that until November 15 comes and goes, then we can't really breathe. They're worried about Sarah running for president. Tayo, we're worried that she might not. So everybody's worried right now. Equally. For once again, the country is united in our nervousness. Sabi ni Super Del, pusta ako sa October 7, yun ang numero ng father niya at yun ang nasasaad sa filosofiya ni Nostradamus. Ha, charot. Okay. Reggie says, I'm not in BBM. If BBM the heat, baka tirahin niya ng mga oligarko. Then it will be depend on how he handles it, di ba? And the kind of people that he will surround himself with. Now, ako, I want the next president to protect Duterte, to protect his, yeah, his rear end, kumbaga, uh, from things like the ICC and other possible cases. And when I say protect, hindi lang siya i-railroad, 'di ba? If cases are going to be filed, fine. Cases are going to be filed, pero wag naman sanang kargahan. Ari says, ano kaya ang pakiramdam ng mga dilawan, oposisyon, makakaliwang grupo? Tingin ko nervyos din. Mukhang kulang brains ang kabila sa political strategy. It's a mind game after all, sabi ni Alan. Yes, right now, actually, the opposition is depending also on whether or not Sarah is going to file her certificate of candidacy. The numbers have been consistent. She and BBM have been, blazing a trail in all of the surveys, regardless of whether you believe the surveys or not, the fair ones anyway. In all of them, they have been very, very consistent. So, ang worry ng kabila is that they file. Ang worry natin is that they might not. BBM has always been open that he's running. Okay, let's get that clear. He is running and he consistently says he does not know yet what position. He also consistently says he is going to take all the time that is available to him to think about what position he runs. Now, I understand that there's a rumor, a persistent rumor going around that if Sarah files her certificate of candidacy for the presidency, then BBM does not intend to do the same. In other words, hindi niya babanggain. On the contrary, he will file for another position. Now, if Sarah had filed and Duterte had filed his own for vice presidency, I understand that BBM would not have filed for either position. But now, the field is clear. So, siya yung iniintay natin ngayon. He will set the tone. Diba? Uh, Again, we have until October 8th to see what's going to go on. Or November 15. Don't reveal muna para magugulat na lang ang oposisyon. How can I reveal? I don't know anything. Diba? As far as I can tell, it is what it is. It's exactly what it is. In other words, what we don't know na lang is what BBM is filing for. But we're all hoping that he files for the presidency, assuming that he knows that Mayor Sara is intent on running for re-election in Davao. Ma'am Karen says, kung sakali mag-file si Sara sa pagka-presidente, sino po iboboto mo as VP? I like Bongo 2 sa dami ng naitayo niyang malasakit centers at sa dami ng natulungan niyang mga malalayong municipalities, effect ng natural disasters like bagyo at baha. Well, I agree with you that Senator Bongo has certainly been very, very helpful, lalo na sa mahihirap. His malasakit program has been, how do you call this? A boon. It has been such a, well, big help para dun sa mga natatamaan ng sakit. Sobrang galing nun. What I think, I don't want to even think about it yet. In the same way that I didn't want to think about Sarah going against BBM or BBM going against Sarah, I don't want to think about BBM and Bongo running for different positions. Running for the same position. I like them both. I think that BBM really should run for the presidency para we don't have to do this kind of choosing unless of course Sarah runs for the presidency. Eto, sabi ni Cthulhu, at least the BBM camp is a team player waiting for what the Duterte camp will do. That is a plus for me. Yes, I agree with you on that one, but it's also good strategy for them. 'Di ba? They know based on the numbers who to support and who to go against. Yun yung maganda doon. El Junior Napoles says some are frustrated now, but October 8th is still a long a long while coming. Anything can still happen within this period. Like what the third Trixie is saying, it's too early to tell. Let's be patient. Yeah. I prefer to, meditate. Otherwise, the stress is going to kill me. The stress and the suspense is going to kill me. No reason for SD to run for VP. Duterte legacy will remain intact even if she doesn't. Now, if the ICC and other opposition parties continue to attack RD, even though he's retired, it leaves her no choice but to run. Do you think Rafi has a chance to win the senatorial race despite all the bashing that he got? Yes, his numbers are still pretty solid. He's most likely going to run and win. Oh, he filed his COC. He's going to win. The question na lang is will he be number one or not? I think. Magdi says, I'm a DDS supporter for the start. So sad that Ma'am Sarah's not running for national post. I think I have no choice but to support BBM if he runs for the presidency dahil siya lang ang nakikita kong makakaprotect kay Tatay PRRD and could work well with Bongo as the VP's major platform is continuity. We don't know, baka nagtatawagan nga sila BBM Sara sa phone and lahat pala scripted na parang malito ang opposition. Who knows, di ba? Well, the problem is some of their close friends aren't saying the same thing. So I prefer to just be really zen about it and try not to root for any side until I see who the final candidates are going to be. Ruby says, eto, ayoko nagsisettle tuloy sa next best candidate. I don't think BBM is next best. I think that both he and Sarah have very good strong points. I still hope that Sarah will run as president. Heart-stopping moments sa mga remaining days, lalo na. At nagma-mindset na ang mga nilalabas na news survey sa mga newspapers. So, protect the president. Thank you kay FX Miranda. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing wrong with hoping. And there's nothing wrong with urging Mayor Sarah to run. Okay, so for those of you who are still hoping, then I suggest you join the clamor for Mayor Sarah to run for the presidency. Di ba mas maano to? Mas now I think that maybe she'll listen. Maybe she might think that, oh, look at all of these people, they're asking me to run. And, baka maantig siya, we don't know. But for those of you who want her, then I think that you should be heard. Diba? Post run Sarah run on your status messages. Uh, she will see that. She has a Facebook page. She will see that. So I think that for those of you who are feeling a little down right now, then urge her to run. Run, Sarah, run. In fact, that was the whole idea in that entire movement. To get her to run, diba? Hopefully that she will listen. Sabi ni Ruth to Badesa, there's something in your eyes that you know something. I have no idea what you're talking about. Vicente Fernandez says BBM should run for president and Sarah after BBM. Um, the thing about running for the presidency is that momentum also is a big thing. Eto, thinking of W says, nakakalungkot lang kung di takbo si Mayor Sara. Sana kung siya at si BBM ang magkasama, tiyak di makapolma yung dilawan at mga bataan ni Joma. Tapos si PRRD po umayaw, sayang. Mas tama ang mga vlogger survey, BBM lagi nasa top. I think when it comes to methodology, I think that might be difficult. But like I said, consistent, BBM and Sarah have always had good numbers across the board. Albert says Sarah will run as president while BBM will be her vice president and Bongo will give way. Who knows? If BBM runs as president, Isko will dominate, I think. Why not Sarah for president and PRRD for vice president? Then BBM run for senator kagaya ni Alan Peter Cayetano. Why not? Like I said, ako kasi, natawa ako kasi kanina nag-post kami. No? Sinabi namin na something like that. Mayor Sarah has filed her certificate of candidacy and so on. And a lot of people were worried, they're complaining and all that. And then somebody said, hayaan nyo nga sila. In the end, ganito yung ifa-file nila. For me, hindi pwedeng hayaan, di ba? We're just simply speaking our part in it. This is what we want. Whether we don't really get the say because they have the final say in this. They get to choose whether or not they're going to run. So Mayor Sarah gets to run if she wants to run. Not that we have any influence on what she says or anything like that, but I do think that a large number of people asking her to run might make a difference. Who knows? But if she doesn't, then I would respect that position because after all, she is the mayor of Davao City, and ako, I don't want to take her away from Davao either. Diba? Takes a Duterte to run that place. It's such a huge place. Baka nag-file si Sarah ng re-election para walang lalaban ng iba tapos si Pulong ang tatakbo ng mayor tapos si Sarah sa president. Di kaya, like I said, anything can happen. Um, we're only doing this live simply because I want people to be heard also. Who do you want for president? Because it's still only October 2. October 8, yung deadline ng filing of certificates of candidacy. Ang dami pa. Di ba? Ang dami pang time. I think may alam si Attorney Trixie at Boss Conrad, ayaw lang nilang pangunahan si BBM. Remember, kasama nila si BBM recently. Ken Reyes says, why do I have a feeling that BBM might give way? I hope and pray that he runs for president. I hope they run for the... I hope they run. Walang mga tanong, ano? Hindi pa rin ba tayo makaget over? Nahihirapan pa ba tayo mag-process this whole thing, di ba? This is difficult to process. Ma'am Pinay says, time to start to ignore the noise. October has just started. Wait until the filing of COCs is over. If you react to every filing, we might suffer from a nervous breakdown. Mapapaaga ang sainthood. Malapit na. Oh, well, for me, I can always visit her in Davao City. Diba? Let's just say, Attorney Chicks knows nothing about Duterte's strategy, but the fact that attorney is a lawyer, smirk. Ay, nag-beg off po si PRRD for VP, so ano kayong balak niya? Retirement, according to him. But yun na nga, the reason we're all confused and hoping is because he's really so good at this game. But haven't you noticed he's really good at it? The fact that we're all guessing, even the opposition is guessing, even when he's no longer playing the mind game, everybody is still guessing. That's how good he is. So I think this should take a moment to acknowledge that. Thank you, President Duterte. Once again, you took so many years of my life dahil sa nervyos. Kung ayaw tukbo ni Sarah, wag pilitin. Run, Sarah, run, please. Ang labo nyo. Wala pong H yung Sarah niya. Benji Island says, tingin ko sinusunod lang ni Sarah si Duterte na hindi siya patatakbuhin ni Presidente. Pwede rin. Pwede rin, di ba? Melvon Ramos asks if may matutuloy daw yung nasa na yun? Matutuloy ba 'yon? Matutuloy ba daw yung hybrid election system? I don't think there's any more time. Tumigil na po siya. Hindi na siya dineliberate sa Senado. So Casey says, sana po tumakbo talaga si Sarah para di po masayang ang nasimulan ni Duterte para matuloy po at maiayos ang future ng ating bansa. Huwag hayaang makabalik ang mga dilawan na puro pansariling interest lang. You're right. Ako, I am, resisting the idea that it's not going to continue. I want it to continue. Darj says, I'm so puzzled what's going to happen next. I'm seeing three scenarios. PRRD is really a good strategist. Heist, nakakagigil. Ano yung next episode? Good play. Yes, actually, at the end of this, we're going to say, well played. Ayaw ni PRRD patakbuhin si Sarah as president noon, pero kanina sabi niya it would be Sarah Go. Confusing, di ba? Yes. I think that is the president's intention, to confuse us until the very last minute. Eto, sabi ni Lester, what I don't understand is that why other Duterte supporters cannot give support to BBM the way we give Duterte our votes and support for almost 6 years already. Because BBM hasn't declared, he hasn't filed his certificate of candidacy. Why do you want to force this point? What I don't understand is why some BBM supporters are intent on picking a fight. Nobody is fighting with you. Ang dami ngang nagsasabi, well, if Sarah doesn't file, then we're going to support BBM. Why can't you take that for what it is? Diba? Can you force people to like You? You can't. In the same way that you can't force people to determine which is their priority candidate. Rennie C says, sana alisin na sa Constitution ang limit sa term ng presidente. Let the voters decide if the president deserves a second term. Well, there's that. Ma'am, may nasabi si Manong Juan na Bongo at Sara Balita. Malalim talaga ang plano nila, hindi malaman. Ang kapal ng mukha na, uy, wag naman kayo mag-away para i-push si BBM. Wala naman uy, no hating on BBM here. He hasn't declared. Why hate on him? In order to protect PRRD, Sarah should run. She's one feisty woman. She's the nail in the coffin of the Dilawans. PRRD will protect her till her term ends. Then BBM should be the next president to continue the Marcos legacy. BBM would have a smooth implementation of change. I can't imagine how progressive my beloved country will be if Sarah and BBM resurrect all the planned infrastructure his father had prepared for us. Yeah. Hello po, sabi ni Victor. Nangangamoy inidoro uli ang mga dilawan sa 2022, sabi ni Aris. Yeah. Ito, John Ray says, whether Sarah will run or not, although we're hoping, still we must support either BBM or Sarah since we can't afford another 6 years of the dilawan. We must remain united until the end. We must encourage those who oppose and convince them we need every vote. Huwag tayong masyadong kampante. I agree with this totally. Totally, completely. As in, if we can do that yesterday, let's do that yesterday. Di ba? Ito, sabi ni Ken Lizales, the fact na willing silang lahat mag-give way kung sino dapat next president is a sign na kahit sino sa kanila maging president panalong taong bayan. Kaya dapat united tayo. Agree. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, sabi ni Zig Zaoljek. And when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. Sun Tzu, Art of War. Yep. The good thing is, litong-lito si Lenny Scott Pacquiao from Ilocos Norte. BBM has decided already he will be in Ilocos tomorrow and on Monday and will announce here something. Uh, Tomorrow and on Monday. Tomorrow is Sunday the 3rd. Ilocos is, Monday is the 4th. Okay. That could mean anything. I'm worried if he's in Ilocos kasi ang filing ng local is in the in the capital of the province where you're going to file or the municipality. So I'm not sure that's something to be happy about. If he's going to, well, hopefully he's just going to run his intention to run for a national position and come back to Manila to file his COC. Diba? If mag-withdraw si Sara ng COC and mag-file for president or vice, wala nang pambato ang PDP kusiwing if mag-withdraw din si PG. They can support Mayor Sara. Diba? BBM Sara, Sara BBM or Sara Bongo, wala akong problema. Alin man dyan ng kombya, will support them. Wala nang iba. Ika nga, go for gold. I agree. Para sa akin kasi, it's simple. If we want to continue the president's legacy, then we have to avoid all opposition. And lahat ng mga mapagkunwari, yung mga kunwari Duterte sila, tapos at the last minute, ayan naman pala, ginamit lang nila yung supposed connection nila with the president or yung whatever. They took the opportunity to ingratiate themselves to the president. Pagkatapos, aawayin din naman pala nila. So yung mga yan, ekis na dapat lahat ng mga yan. And that's not just those who are running for Senate, for the presidency, but also those who are running in the Senate. Yung mga kala mo kung sinong loyal Duterte, tapos pagdating down, right down to it, hindi naman pala. So lalo-lalo na, titignan natin yung mga nandyan sa Senado, ha? Tandaan, sino ba dyan yung mga nagmamagaling na kunwari loyal-loyal. Pagkatapos dun sa Senate hearing, lumabas din ng mga tunay na kulay. Huwag kakalimutan sila, basura yung mga yan. I rarely get angry like this. Pero para sa akin, kayo sinuportahan, tinulungan kayo ng presidente and when it came right down to it, andyan kayo, nanggaganyan kayo, nanlalaglag kayo. How do we know hindi nyo ilalaglag ang taong bayan when it came right down to it? Jade Kevin Santos says, ang iboto din natin sa 2022 yung maninindigan na maipatayo ang PaREx at iba pang mga infrastructure ng magpapaginhawa sa mga Pilipino. Good. Diba? Ituloy yung build, build, build. Ipalaganap yung PhilHealth. Tutuhanin yung yung mga ganyan. Ipalaganap yung free tertiary education. Make sure that the poorest of the poor get the services that they need, and that a good business climate is set up. Hindi ibabalik yung mga dating nakikinabang sa mga unwarranted na mga tax breaks nila. Let's not vote for somebody so closely identified with big business interests that don't work for the people. Dun sa mga nagpapatakbo ng mga water uh, concessionaires na tinatawag. Wag natin iboboto yung mga tao na vinevet nila. Wag natin, those who are being funded by these oligarchs, hindi dapat natin ibabalik yan sa pwesto. Bukod tanging si BBM lang ang hindi naninira at nambabatikos sa kanyang mga katunggali sa politika, kahit na siya at ang pamilya niya ay hiyain at laitin, hindi siya gumaganti sa mga paninira at panlalait nila. Ang tunay na leader hindi gumaganti at patuloy lang ang nagpapakumbaba at umuunawa. Bongbong Marcos ang tunay na leader na kailangan ng ating bansa. Sabi ni Leandro, mag-announce intention lang po, BBM comes here kasi tradition po since sa Apolacay na ask the hands of the Ilocano before filing COC. Alright. Even if BBM appears to be a very strong candidate, sabi ni Viterbo Guevara, I feel that a lot of personalities want to ensure that it does not get back to Malacanang. Well, ganito ha, in case Mayor Sara doesn't file for the presidency, uh, wouldn't it be really painful for the yellow people if he wins for president or even vice president? Can you imagine how painful that's going to be for them? Their entire narrative. It means that people, even if people believe it, they don't care. Di ba? And then, on the other hand, there are people who will just say that, well, we don't believe it. Kinargahan nyo masyado yung kwento eh. If you were fair in the narrative, then it would have been big possibilities that we'll probably look at things your way. But because of your lack of objectivity, kinaragahan nyo masyado, now people can swing way across the other side and support the Marcoses. You villainized them. You made them the villains for so long na now that the things have changed and other facts are coming to light, people are angry at the fraud, 'di ba? Sana sa mga humihirit ng martial law ay nako, wala akong pakialam diyan, di yan ang sitwasyon natin ngayon. Live in the moment. True. It's different. The times have different. Times have changed. Yung mga nagsasabing never again to martial law, forget to take into consideration that not only have the times changed, but martial law has changed as well. They put it in the Constitution and then they forgot all about it. Chev says so too. If BBM and Inday Sara wins, that would be the final nail in the coffin of their almost 50-year-old narrative. Exactly. Duterte was already, kumbaga, just by being Duterte and being elected, wrecked their narrative. They were all set for Amar Rojas presidency, di ba? And then suddenly, this guy comes from behind and wins, right from under them. So I understand why some people are feeling let down that Mayor Sara didn't file a certificate of candidacy for the presidency. I don't want to go back to the bad old days. Ayoko na yung niloloko tayo. Parang hindi kaya ngayon. Tignan niyo yung Senado. Yung mga dating binibenta nila sa atin na biling-bili naman, yung mga tipong, yung they'll hold a person on trial by publicity in a Senate investigation. Ngayon nakikita na natin na wait, this is what they've been doing all along. 'Di ba? They'll choose somebody, they'll turn him into the villain for their own political agenda. You know, this is what they've been doing, and now are we really intent on going back? I don't think kaya na uli eh. Parang ang hirap naman tanggapin. So I'm not going to vote for anybody who represents those kinds of politics or that kind of politics. So nakikita ko na yung ibang mga nagde-declare ng ano nagde-declare na tatakbo silang presidente. Hindi ako naniniwala na hindi kayo babalik dun sa dati. Hindi nyo ibabalik dun sa dati because you're not strong enough to say no to oligarchic forces. You're no Duterte, or you're not even yourself. In other words, you're not even your own self, tapos strong enough to say no. I don't see anybody in the those who have declared their willingness to run for president as being that strong. They're incapable of doing what Duterte has done. And what I'm looking for is another Duterte or Duterte-like leader. Yung hindi na tayo ibabalik dun sa dati. Ayan, no? Sabi ni Joy Lau, daming dumikit kay PRRD na lumalabas ang kulay. Si BBM andyan pa rin, support kay PRRD. Pero galit mga DDS. Sino may sabing galit ang mga DDS? DDS ba talaga o may magpapanggap para dumami kalaban ni PRRD? I don't see it. On our wall, on my wall, sa Luminous, ang galit sa akin parate, yung mga nagkiklaim na BBM supporters. Hindi ako nagbibiro. Parati silang yung mga, why don't you support BBM the way you're supporting Duterte? Excuse me. The president is still the president, so I will support him until his last day in office and possibly even beyond. If BBM declares his candidacy for the presidency, fine. I will give him the kind of support that he deserves. But right now, Duterte, diba? He's the president. Pero tignan ninyo, ang ginagawa, why are you demanding it of us? 'Di ba? Why bakit ganon? Sinabi na nga namin BBM Sara BBM. BBM gets the same airplay on Luminous Wall as everybody else. We repost the stuff that he puts on his site and so on. Mas madalas pa nga nababanggit si BBM kaysa si Mayor Sara dun sa aming wall, pero galit pa rin. 'Di ba? At saka ang daming nagsasabi na, yeah, nararamdaman ko yung bigat eh. So I disagree with your perception. At the same time, I also acknowledge that it might be not real BBM supporters and they're just trying to make him look bad. Jade Kevin Santos says, let's not forget to vote for congressmen who are for continuity. Yan ang mamumuno sa lower house na tatabla sa Senate pag namimihasa na sila like Dick, Kiko, Lisa H, and Rilon are doing. That's another thing, di ba? The legislature, tignan niyo yung ginagawa ng mga senador natin ngayon. Kailangan tablahin yung mga yan. And you're right. Ryan Lopez says, siguro as long as walang yellows sa president or VP position, we should support, may it be BG, BBM, Sara. Our main goal is to flush out the yellows. Yeah, I agree. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. This who supports Sarah and PRRD should support BBM since he's the kryptonite of the reds and yellows. Yes, I agree. Hindi po Senate hearing kundi speaking po ang mga politiko. Gusto lang ng exposure at pasikat, pati mga questions nila misleading. No more dilawans dun sa inidoro. Who among the presidentiables ang may nalatag the plan for climate change, animal welfare, and environment? Parang wala pa. Even IPs, heritage, tourism, and culture. Wala pa nga. I agree. No. So culture si BBM. Meron na siyang sinabi about that. Not sure about the tourism and heritage part, but definitely culture, yes. Remember, anak siya ng nanay niya. Okay, may nakikita pa ako dito, mga nang-aaway. Again, like I said, meron pa yung asking about Duterte's support for the Marcoses. Clearly, you have been absent in the first few years, di ba? Ganito yan eh. I will take my cue from BBM. Nakakausap naman siya and he has not on any occasion said anything bad about the president. So, in as much as he has done that, I'll take the cue from him as well. Diba? Bakit? Why the need to be angry at President Duterte? Anong ginawa niya sa inyo? 'Di ba? Ken Lizarre says, may isang DDS vlogger na nagsimula ng away between DDS and loyalista. Kahit yung nasa gitna, tinitira. Ayan, tuloy, pati mga oposisyon, sinakyan na, lalo nila pinag-aaway. Yep, yan yung ano natin eh. Yan yung magiging weakness natin is if we start fighting among ourselves. We need a president to fulfill the federalism form of government. We need BBM, Sara, and the next senators and House representatives to aid in fulfilling this dream. Okay, but you speak as though a majority have asked for it. Remember that any change in government must be subject to the majority, to the vote of the majority as well. Sinira ng husto ng mga dilawan ang mga Marcoses will in fact dito sa Ilocania region, we solidly support them. Yan ang tatak Ilocanos at Pangasinenses. BBM Sara for President and Vice President 2022. Sara and BBM. O, see? Ma'am, umatras si VP Lenny sa pagkapangulo sa dahilang makakalaban niya si BBM at malalaman ng lahat ng Pilipino na nandaya siya kasi mababa ang boto ng kanyang makukuha. I don't doubt it. Maganda yung rematch. Di ba? Been there, done that. These 2022 elections are very important sa mga dilaw kasi pag hindi nila nakuha ito, finished na sila. Hindi na sila talaga makakabalik. I did not vote for PRRD, but he got the mandate of the people, so I give my entire support to him, even losing friends defending him. It's part of my respect to moral function of suffrage, which is supposed to be uniting the people. So crazy sa support natin lahat ng mga candidates na magsusulong at magtutuloy ng projects ng PRRD. Huwag iboto mga nakadikit sa oligarchs kagaya ni Tulfo na gustong ibalik ang ABS-CBN. Kahit na madaming violations. Ako grade 3, ako sa history namin, sabi ng teacher ko, siniraan daw si P. Marcos ng mga dilawan kaya napatalsik. Yeah. BBM will surely run for president. Nag-vice na siya last time at nadaya lang. Best rest back is run president and win this time. Inday Sara can or will substitute Bongo for vice, BBM Sara for the win. Mga ka-BBM at TDS supporters, magkaisa tayo, kailangan united tayo para hindi makalusot ang mga dilawan. Tandaan ninyo, 30 years nilang binabalasupas ang bansa natin. Totoo yan. Do not give in dun sa personal na galit natin. Di ba? That's not good for the country. Let's vote for the one person who will really and truly continue what Duterte has done for us, and that is to throw out the old narratives, yung pagkukunwari, yung mga kala mo ang babait, di makabasag pinggan, kala mo ang super charitable, kala mo may malasakit sa mga hirap, yung pala pagkukunwari lang. Once they're put into position, kaliwat kanan yung pagnanakaw, while at the same time, calling themselves saints. Crap. Yoko na ng ganon. A lot of them are still in the Senate. May mga sa katulad nila na tumatakbo para sa Senado. Huwag po natin silang iboto. I mean, even if tingin natin mandadaya yung mga yan, let's still vote for the people who should be in office. Kaya naiinis ako. Sorry to say. Doon sa mga taong nagsasabi, paano yan dadayain lang? Ano yun? Sinuko na natin? Yung mga tipong, ito, parang binigay na lang natin. Sige, di bali na, huwag na tayong bumoto kasi Smartmatic naman mamimili. Laban tayo. We have to fight it. Na ipanalo natin si Duterte in spite of Smartmatic. Do not forget that. Ever. Mga nagsasabi, paano yan, dadayain lang ng Smartmatic. Unang-una, di ba, we don't know that. Okay. Pangalawa, may Smartmatic when the president won. If you forget that, then you are weakening the entire reason why we were able to get a Duterte. You're forgetting that we stood together and in millions voted for him. Diba? So you have to stop giving in to Smartmatic. Yes, Smartmatic is a threat, but it can be defeated. 'Di ba? The way we defeated it when it was when in 2016. Cheating can only do so much. After that, hindi na. They will risk too much. Sabi ni Noor, you're one of the few who has that strong conviction of supporting the president until his last day in office. We truly admire that. Agree that we should be united. Uy, thank you kay Ruel Costello. Okay. Yeah, ganito yun eh. One thing that is really wrong with us is that kumakapit lang dun sa mga perceived natin na we're powerful. So kapit kay Presidente during elections, when he won, at the height of his power as a president. But now, we're counting months when he steps down. I think this is the time that he needs the most support. It's the least we can do for the man who has given us so much. 'Di ba? Tayo nga, ay, kami mga hampas lupa na vlogger-vlogger lang, 'di ba? Ako ilalang ko talaga sarili ko. Uh, we get hit at by insults day in, day out. The president goes through that too. He didn't have to, you know. And as a president, he's really powerful. He could have decided somewhere along the way and said, I want to stay in power forever. 'Di ba? He could have said that and done something about it and said, I'm going to be dictator for life. He could have done that. He didn't. He's going to go out, he's going to retire quietly, go home to Davao. That's exactly what the president should do. And he's going to do that. I mean, there's some people who, once having become president, they can't let go of the power. So they keep coming back. Whether that's good or not, I don't really care. But this, this is how it's done. I think that we should appreciate that. I think that we should support him until the very last day, until he goes out, because this is the age of Duterte. We do not know if it's going to come back, if it's going to continue. Because we're going to look back on these days as the days when we said no to the people who held power in this country, whose families held power since the Malolos Congress. Guys, let's all just say DDS Loyalist United. Agree. May pera talaga na vloggers. May pera talaga na vloggers ay and may nakita ka bang vlogger na mayaman na totoong DDS loyalist? Anti-PaREx supports duopoly cover-up for concessionaires water treatment issue. Yan. Ito, sadly ayaw ni Sara sumapi sa PDP laban. Hindi naman niya kailangan sumapi sa PDP laban. Required for substitution, kapwa mo kaalyado. Ah, bakit? Hindi naman siya, PDP laban na, matagal na siyang umalis. So, if then ang magiging basis ninyo for feeling down, I disagree. Maraming pwedeng mag-adapt sa kanya. Baka strategy rin ng Dilawan na hinahayaan nilang tumakbo si Pacquiao at yung iba pa na medyo may hatak na tao, Gordon, may hatak din yan kay Lacson kasi mahahati ang boto ng tao. Yeah, but what good does it do for them? Does well for us. Thank you kay Ma'am Janet. Thank you daw for the insights. If they wanted to bring back the Katol network, o sige, pilitin nila na bayaran ng mga Lopez sa mga unpaid taxes at loans. Napakasimple naman ang gagawin, kaso nagmamatigas lang ang Katol. Ngayon lang, anong saysay ng DDS kung wala na si Duterte sa politics at wala nang Duterte sa national politics? Then we become citizens of the country, Filipino citizens, voting against the oligarchic control. Diba? They're going to want to come back, guys. They're not going to take this lightly. If in the 6 years that Duterte was president, very few of them gained the foothold, they're going to come back and they're going to come back angry, meaning they're going to get it from us. What they lost in the past 6 years, they're going to get it back from us. Tofi says, it's not like I don't like BBM. Personally, what I worry about BBM presidency that may be a divisive president. The Dilaos communists and oligarchs will vehemently oppose him more than they opposed PRRD now. Baka maging balakid lang yon sa pamamahala ni BBM if ever he becomes president. But I guess in the end, I will support who PRRD gives his blessing to regardless of who it is because I will vote for continuity and progress, especially sa Bill. At isa lang dapat bantayan, di ba? If BBM won. I don't know. If Rafi wins the senatorial position, do you think he has the power to bring back ABS? If he did that, sure, DDS will get angry at him. He's just one guy, guys. And he's running for Senate. The bill on franchises emanates from the House. What we have to look at is the composition of the House. Cheryl says, ngayon pa lang po nalulungkot na ako at namimiss na si Presidente. Saan kaya tayo pupunta pag hindi na siya ang Presidente? Let us unite as one para sa bayan. Ganito guys, there will never be another Rodrigo Duterte. But, Mayor Inday is very young. Even if she doesn't run for president now, she can do so after 6 years. So, don't lose hope. Di ba? In an interview, BBM pledges to continue the good things Duterte started. If Sara decides not to run for national position, then BBM must win for continuity. Let's see. Yeah. I really want to see what the final outcome. I can't wait for October 8th. Diba? And then after that, I can't wait for November 15. All right, can we talk about PaREx now or hindi pa rin tayo makaget over? Or do you want to talk about PaREx tomorrow? Maybe we should talk about it tomorrow. Di pa rin kayo makaget over. Aran says, Manong Johnny confirms, Manong Eric Enrile, sorry, confirms in this show na sa SMNI that Sara BBM daw. Like I said, let's wait for October 8th. But in the meantime, just so if you believe that Sarah's going to run, then you should post run Sarah run. If you think that she's not going to run but you want her to run, then you should post run Sarah run. Diba? And para dun sa mga pro BBM, just because we post run Sarah run doesn't mean that we don't like BBM nor are we not going to support him. But I think that the tandem of BBM whether as president or vice president, will be excellent paired with a Sara Duterte. Diba? Kapapasok ng balita sa PTV News, Sara naghain ng COC sa Davao City para sa re-electionist. Ma'am, kanina pa po yun. Sir, kanina pa po yun. Alam na po namin yon, kanina pa po dinidiscuss dito. Antonio SC30 says, regarding PaREx, I hope you can check the things that Pag-asa PH posts on Instagram. Puro paninira kay PRRD and PaREx with matching infographics pa. Okay, let's take that. Here. That's one of them. So, pahapyawan na muna natin yung PaREx for now. But tomorrow we'll discuss it more in depth. But before that, let's take this. I'm just curious about political dynasty because if Mary Sarah would run as president, pretty sure that the opposition will use it against her. There's no law on political dynasties. It's in the Constitution, but it requires an enacting legislation. The failure of the Senate and Congress in the last 30 years to put in a law on that, well, para dun sa mga umaangal na dynasty yan, singilin ninyo. Sa tinagal-tagal, di kayo gumawa ng batas. Sa tinagal-tagal, yung mga kaalyado ninyo, naging presidente pa nga si Noynoy, hindi pa rin niya ginawa yung anti-dynasty law. Hindi pa niya hinikayat ang Kongreso at ang Senado na gumawa ng anti-dynasty law. Tapos ngayon kayo maniningil sa amin. Excuse me lang. Okay. Ito. PaREx. This is going around. This is a proposal. This is not ito, sinasabi nila, makakayod daw ang Intramuros because of PaREx. That's not true. This illustration is not true. Okay, it's not going to be on the side. I asked some of our sources from SMC, and what they're saying is that it's not going to be on the Intramuros side, precisely because they're aware of its heritage value. Now, if there are heritage sites on the left side, tandaan, wala pa pong design phase. So let's explain. How does this go? SMC proposed that the Pasig River Expressway be created. Now, some people automatically interpreted that as putting a road on top of the river. It's not true. They're not going to do that. They're going to be on the sides, or at least one side. At least one side, ha? Might be two. You never know. Okay. Anyway, one side. Now, that's going to connect Manila with Rizal Province, and it's going to cut uh, travel time to Rizal by a lot. Okay. Now, is heritage going to be endangered? It's too early to tell right now. Why? Because the proposal that was approved by the DOTR is not the final design phase. It's simply a proposal to build an expressway alongside the Pasig River and ending up at a certain place. Now that it is approved in principle, the design phase begins. So kailangan gumawa ng detailed engineering study. And then after that, meron pang mga mechanisms to begin the environmental compliance in order to begin the process of getting an environmental compliance certificate. Embedded in the ECC, if anybody cares to look at it, is the need to get the approval of either the NCCA or the NHCP when it comes to either cultural sites or historical sites. Since hindi pa po umaabot sa design phase at hindi pa po umaabot dun sa scoping mechanism, there is no design or no final design that governs this project. What we have is simply the approval in principle by the DOTR. So, yung mga humihirit na grabe, makakasira, it's going to be bad for the environment and so on, how do you know? You don't know what it looks like yet. You don't know its extent. You don't know where it's going to be built. But certainly, it's not going to be built in the water. Okay? Ganun lang kasimple po yun. Rizal Province to Manila, sana mag-materialize. Kayo ba naman bumiyahe back and forth for approximately 2 to 3 hours? Siyempre, gugustuhin natin magkaroon ng PaREx with respect to heritage sites. Correct. Diba? Di naman lahat ng taga Ilocos yan ang SB. Marcoses are great in our place. Thanks kay Ma'am Tess for your super sticker. Ma'am Gloria says, may kausap ka. Di ba malakas naman si BBM, ba't ayaw pa niya maghain ng COC? Baka may iniintay siya. Ba? Ian says, hindi po ba makakabawas sa popularity ni Sarah kung yung laban bawi siya in case mag-file siya for substitution? I'm curious lang po. How do you know she's filing? We don't know about substitutions because hindi pa po natatapos ang October 8. So let's not burn that bridge until we get there. I think may reroute yan dahil ginagawa ang MRT 7 sa extension parallel sa LRT 2. That's why we haven't even finished the design phase yet. Bakit ang daming heritage scientist kaagad nagsusulputan habang ni isa wala man lang naglinis sa Pasig River noon? Kung di pa si Ramos gumastos at Ramon ang gumastos at naglinis nga sila. Nabayaran niya ang mga bumabatikos na yan kasi some greedy oligarchs are benefiting from decongested Metro Manila. Daming kumita pag miserable at mahihirap ang sitwasyon sa Manila. Ito, parang yung mga nagko-complain dyan sa PaREx, iisa lang din sa Dolomite. Oo nga eh. Oo. Eto, makakontra lang mga dilawan na yan sa lahat ng mga project ni PRRD kasi gusto nilang manatili magmukhang DUJ. Ano yung DUJ? Did the SMC consult Engineer Palafox on this project? They're trying to get him. Pero according to Architect Palafox himself, pinipressure siya ng mga certain forces na wag niyang ano, tanggapin kumbaga yung yung project. Lilipad na ang agila ng South kasama ang tigre ng North, sabi ni Arihen. Alam mo, nabubuhayan ako pag nakikita ko yung mga ganyan eh. So siguro, more people should keep saying, Sara, BBM, BBM, Sara. Baka saka umabot kay Madam eh. 'Di ba? Baka naman maantig ang puso ng agila ng Davao. The fact na nanalo ang isang probinsyanong mayor na matapang at may totoong political will, eh siguradong ang tao ay maghahanap ng isa pang katulad niya. Hindi na nila maloloko ang taong bayan. Let's continue to unite at ibasura na ang dilaw na sindikato na matagal nang lumalapastangan sa Pinas. Lie. PaRex is anti-poor. It will only benefit the privileged to use the cars. Truth. We have announced the PaRex will be a hybrid expressway accommodating multiple modes of transportation. Apart from accommodating motor vehicles, it will also feature a modern and efficient transport system in the form of a bus rapid transit will run on both the Skyway and PaRex. This will enable faster, more reliable, safer, comfortable, and affordable commutes to and from northern, southern areas. Thank you kay Princey Tom. Kaya at least natalakay natin yung PaRex kahit konti. Bukas tatalakayin natin yung ibang mga nega nila. Kanina dun sa wall namin, sinasabi na ayan kasi dapat ilabas ng SMC yung design ng PaRex. Para hindi namin siya batikusin. Ako para sa akin, eh kayo nga dyan eh, nang babatikos kayo, wala pang ang design. Ngayon, ang sinasabi ninyo, pilitin ng SMC maglabas ng design. Paano maglalabas ng design? Eh approved in principle pa lang yung project. After the approval in principle, consultations, design phase, scoping, ECC, and so on. Inano natin, ino-oppose na, tapos nagpipilit pa kayo na maglabas ng design nang hindi pa po nag-uumpisa ang detailed engineering studies. Hindi yata kayo nag-aaral kung paano yung public works. Hindi po kayong audience yung mga nagbabatikos yun. Ay. At Guardian Mindanao, may kausap na naman. Di hamak na nation builder ang SMC kaysa sa Ayala at MVP na walang ginagawa sa road disputes. BBM Sara or either basta not Dilawan and not oligarchs or not pro-Dilawan or pro-oligarchs. Kasi yung ibang mga tumatakbo, everything but in name na lang sila dilaw eh. 'Di ba? Yung mga iba-iba diyan, mga feeling nila they're so knowledgeable about poverty and housing and all that. Pero 'di ba, being poor doesn't mean that you know how to solve the problem, 'di ba? It usually takes a combination of knowing how the system works and knowing its flaws that you can come up with a solution. Limuel says, solid Duterte ako from Taiwan. Noon pa, hanga na ako sa kanila. Hindi sila epal, to public servant sila. Wala kang makita ng mga name nila sa mga project na nagawa. At tama ka po, asa na sila mga tinaas ni Tatay Diggs. Tapos ngayon bumabaliktad sila. I agree talaga sa komento mo. Ow! What is patamsak naman live? Ano yung patamsak? Sana talaga kailangan at bongo. Sana. Chicken monkey. Ay, sorry. Sabi ni Chicken Monkey, we need another pro Duterte candidates para matapos ang Mindanao train system at yes! At may pagpatuloy ang war against NPA, CPP, and DF. Gusto kong makatry sumakay ng train. Ruby says, happy 5K viewers. Nanonood po ako both YT and FP. 7,000 po yan kanina. Pumalit lang tayo ng topic. Ito, sabi ni Rohan. Ay, nasa na yon? Ano ba? Eto, pwede bang mag-slide to Vice President ang nakapag-file ng COC for President? Yes. But only up until October 8, di ba? You can change. Ngayon, if you withdraw, tapos you are, you can file later on for substitution by November 15. Pwede din po yun. Basta magkapartito kayo ng ipapalitan mo. I grew up in Rizal and I know how difficult it is to travel to Metro Manila, either public or private vehicle. Kahit katabi lang naman ng Rizal ang Pasig, PaREx will not only connect east-west corridors of Metro Manila but will also unlock economic opportunities in the east, especially sa aming mga taga Rizal. They are demonizing PaREx in this advocates for heritage preservation group in FB. I was concerned how it will affect the side of the river. Yung pala, wala pang design. Sana matakal po yung issue ng new Senate Building, Iloilo Convention Center at Makati Car Park Building na iisa lang ang contractor, which is Hillmarks Construction. All are anomalous. Well, we can't say that the new Senate Building is anomalous. But when you say it's anomalous, we have to check kung meron mga na-file na. So only then will I read that, di ba? Ken Kulitz says, Dilawan, Bongbong Marcos for President 2022. Romeo Di Rosario also sent for super sticker. Maraming salamat po. Stephen Salditos says, naku nawala. Says, what about Richard Gomez? He's running for Congress and he supports ABS-CBN. That's why we shouldn't vote for people who support ABS-CBN, di ba? What exactly is the role of governor and vice governor when they are congressman, mayor, and vice mayor and president in each region? The vice governor has supervision over the mayors and vice mayors and over the province. Tapos congressmen are legislators. They make laws. Ayaw namin kay BBM, gusto namin kay Apo, mabuhay si Apo, Marcos. Grabe kayo. Ito, Aris Hernando asks, paano na si Dick Gordon sa kanyang 86 million disallowance? May update na po ba ang Solgen kung nag-file na po ng kaso? Wala pa po tayong updates. Mahal tayo ni PRRD. Sabi, ano ba? Ang bilis. Kahit anong plano ni Tatay Digong at Ma'am Sara, wag lang mawawala si BBM. Siya lang talagang pag-asa ng lahat. Mahal tayo ni PRRD, for sure may plano siya or sila. He said he will run for VP, then announces retirement. BG to run for VP, then hours after, Sara files for re-election. These moves will keep ops wondering. Alright. Tomorrow, meron tayong Sutil Sunday because hindi natin na-discuss masyado yung sa Senate at saka itong PaREx. So, we'll reserve tomorrow for that. Siguro we'll have Sutil Sunday. Meron akong interview kasi with Sarah Balabagan at around noon. So, we'll have Sutil Sunday in the early evening tomorrow. Okay? So, eto, I would like to, to emphasize this. Theodore Ginocchi says, don't bother sa Smartmatic. We can fight their cunning ways by surge votes sa deserving umupo sa positions. Please register para bumoto tayo for our country. Extended po ang registration. Nandun po sa Luminous wall. So, maraming salamat sa lahat ng nagpadala ng super chat at super sticker. Lahat the apps, meron pa pala akong hindi napasalamatan. Si Gigi Lim Ocampo, thank you very much for your super sticker. BBM for president, yes. Yes, BBM Tandem Bongo, bless both for the higher position. Great news, di ba? But, para sa akin, run, Sarah, run pa rin until the last day. But if BBM files for his candidacy and Inday does not, then go tayo. We know, at least we know, di ba? Ay, para dun sa mga nagsasabi, di sila boboto kay Raffy Tulfo kasi ibabalik ang ABS-CBN. Gusto ko yung ganyang klaseng thinking, yung mga tipong issue-based. Hindi dahil we don't like the person, we don't like how he looks, because galing sila sa ganito. Issue-based tayo this election. So, yun ang aanohin natin. Yun ang titignan natin na mabuti. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng sumubaybay. Ang dami-dami po ninyo. Tomorrow, Sutil Sunday, PaREx tayo. And itong mga pangyayari sa Senado and in the House, we have, baklasin natin po yan. Natignan natin ano na ang nangyayari sa continuing saga ni Lincoln Ong. Di ba? Sabi ni, sino ba yung nag-congratulate? Sabi ni Ian, congratulations, 50K, road to 60K now. Lumampas na tayo ng 50K. Yeah, on the road to 60K. Maraming salamat. Huwag pong kakalimutan magpa-like, share, and follow, subscribe, especially sa YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow. Magandang gabi sa lahat.